Hi, everybody. It's nice to see you this evening. We are excited tonight to have Strafford High School with us. Strafford is down in the southwest corner, and they have been a very active member of MASC for several years. They host the officer training that goes on in the Southwest District, and Valerie Pointer, who's with us, is their advisor. She is the board representative for the Southwest District. How are you guys doing tonight? Everybody good?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I understand that the last few years, you've been doing an activity that started out as Hope Week. And I will just give a little background on that what I know about is that a former student of yours, Sydney King, who happened to be a JC at our summer workshop, she kind of was responsible for creating that week. And it was really a time for your school and your student body to reflect on suicide prevention and helping kids understand that mental health was important. And I'm going to ask Mrs. Pointer, could you tell us, I know you said Sydney kind of named Hope Week, but what did HOPE stand for back then?
So back then when we first started, it was Hold On, Pain Ends.
Okay.
Kind of found that or that tagline, and it's something that is transferred into just Hope Week. We don't even talk about the Hold On, Pain Ends part because we want it to be such a positive, including everyone type of event.
Good. Well, and that's kind of where your whole activity then has rolled, you guys, hasn't it, into more of a celebration of kindness. Is that kind of what's happening, Hannah, that it's a kind of like a kindness week? Tell me a little bit about what it looks like.
So this year we did a random act of kindness every day, and we had a color every day, and that act of kindness would correlate with the color. So like we did pink, and we gave out pink lemonade to everybody.
Okay. Connor, do you remember any of the other activities that happened during the week that correlated to the colors?
On Friday, we did a Maroon Day for like school pride, and at lunch we raffled off different items like shirts and Bass Pro hats because we have a lot of those and other items.
Bass Pro's not too far from you guys, is it?
Nope.
That's awesome. Well, I've been to Strafford, and I know that your school pride is pretty incredible down there. Mac, can you remember another one of the activities that you did that correlated with one of the colors?
We also did like a blue day, and we used Dory as our mascot for that day. And so we gave out pieces of paper that said, just keep swimming, encouraging people and stuff like that.
Awesome. Good. Well, would you say that celebrating kindness is an important thing to do in schools? I mean, sometimes I think people think about kindness as just for elementary kids, but it sounds like you guys have really wrapped your heads around that kindness is an important thing in high school. Why would you say that? Will one of you speak to that? Why you decided to keep going with this event?
I feel like we just really wanted people to come to school and be able to feel like they were welcome and loved. So that was really the main reason why we wanted to focus on kindness.
Okay. Anything from Mac or Connor? You guys feel like?
Personally, I feel like kindness is most important in high school because there's so much more drama and the aspects of that. So I feel like kindness is most a big deal in high school.
That's awesome. Yep. I agree. You're right. There's a lot of drama. And if we can do anything as student council leaders to help kids feel good and feel welcome, that's a pretty important thing. I know that one of you mentioned earlier when we were talking before we started recording that at one time you must have had Angie Wallace come to school and do a presentation. Mac, do you remember her coming and that presentation? You must have met her at camp.
Yeah, Angie Wallace was my AC at Fulton, and so she had shared her story with me previously. We had talked, and I had shared with her about Hope Week, and so she told me to contact her at some point during the school year and speak for us. And so we did like a 2-day suicide prevention kind of thing at the beginning of our school year. And she came and spoke to our student body. And so we kind of separated Hope Week and our random acts of kindness so that we could do both and still have big emphasis on still helping people who needed help with suicide prevention.
Excellent, excellent. Well, for those of you that are watching tonight and might not know Angie Wallace, I just want to put a little bug in your ear about her. Angie is the student council advisor at Brookfield High School and has been instrumental in helping schools and teenagers pass information on about suicide prevention. We were fortunate to know Angie's son, Taylor, who was a JC for us at summer workshop, and he did die by suicide his freshman year of college. And Angie has spent the last 2 or 3 years spreading a positive message and helping teenagers think about their own mental health. She's organized a special group called Moms Breaking the Silence. She's done a lot of training to be able to speak to schools, and she is readily available to talk to teens and do presentations in schools. So lucky for you guys that you were able to have Angie come and speak to your school, because she does really a phenomenal job. Could you talk just a little bit about the response that you've had from your student body? I'm sure that some of it's been positive and some of it's been negative, but let's talk a little bit about the positive responses you've gotten from students regarding your Kindness Week and the activities that you've done.
I think when we did like the pink lemonade, I think that was really good because everyone enjoyed it, and I got a lot of people like after lunch asking me like, hey, why did you guys give that out? Like, what's it for? And then I would like explain to them, hey, we're doing Hope Week, and I be able to like get the word out to them.
Good, good. So you probably do some advertising a little bit ahead of time to let kids know that your special week is coming, but
Yeah.
sometimes kids don't pay attention to that, do they? They all of a sudden they
No.
get some cool thing that you guys are giving them, and that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Now you all are in a leadership class, is that right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so is this particular activity a responsibility of your leadership class then?
Yes.
Very good. Valerie, could you talk just a little bit about leadership class and what that looks like for Strafford and how you organize projects in your class?
Yeah, so we have about 20 kids. We keep about 20. It's an application course. They do not have to be in student council. And every once in a while we get that gym of a kid who didn't want to run for student council, didn't want, that election feared them. So that's been really beneficial to open it up to the whole school. We divide things up. They work in a lot of small groups. They work together. A lot of times I pick those groups for them to make them work outside of their comfort zones, which I think is really important. And they do a lot of class collaboration, honestly. And we get a lot of different viewpoints.
Good, good. Well, you guys are certainly lucky to be able to have a leadership class, because a lot of student councils don't meet in leadership class, and a lot of the things that you all are doing in another school might happen before or after school with committee work. Would a couple of you talk just a little bit about leadership class and how it's been of benefit to you?
So I've been in leadership the past 2 years, and I think it's been beneficial to me. One, because it gives me more of an opportunity to focus on what we would be doing in student council, and it gives me an hour every day that I get to focus on whatever project we're doing or helping our students or going and talking to teachers and stuff like that. But the past 2 years, it's also given me an opportunity to get to know the older kids, student council, and especially the first year that I was in it, I was a sophomore in a class of mostly seniors. And I felt like that gave me an opportunity meet a lot of good people to look up to, have helped me to base one of my legacy to be when I was a senior. And so I definitely appreciate having that leadership, not only growing a better leader out of myself, but also meeting amazing leaders that were also in our school.
Awesome. I think that very definitely relates to mental health. Um, you have had the opportunity to look and watch and be mentored by older students. And I think that's probably a lesson that we all need to realize, is that there are people looking up at us all the time. And as upperclassmen, thinking about what kind of role model that we want to be for younger students is pretty important. You guys are right there on campus too, with your middle school, and your elementary is just right down the street too. Are you doing some other things with leadership or student council where you are doing some mentoring of the younger kids?
We do fifth grade mentoring every other Wednesday, and we have like 4 different groups, and each group goes to a teacher, and we do like a lesson about whatever topic and play games with them.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Awesome. Good. Well, I've known about your school for a long time, and Mrs. Pointer and I have been friends for a long time, and I know what a great job she does as a student council advisor, and certainly has done a good job helping you guys organize some incredible activities with your student council. I appreciate very much that you said yes to joining us this evening. I know it's kind of scary to be interviewed, if you will, and be recorded, but you guys did a great job. Is there anything else that you'd like for us to know before we sign off tonight? Nope. No final words.
Terry, I'll say something. I just want to, when we started Hope Week, it was really important to those kids who started, but we also had a ton of administrative support. So as a student council advisor, as a leadership class, that was such a big part of why it was able to take off, and why it's able to last for the few years, it hasn't fizzled out, because our counselor is behind it, our principals are behind it. So that makes all the difference.
You're exactly right. I think that's really important, that having the support of administrators, activities directors, principals, superintendents, whoever it might be, does make a difference to the success of an event, because they're allowing you the opportunity to address situations like this, but also to have some pretty cool gifts for kids outside of the normal realm of what school looks like. So kudos to your administrative team for sure. Well, thanks so much, you guys, for joining in. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulty at the front of all this, but you hung right in there, and I appreciate it. And I hope you're all thinking about virtual summer leadership workshop, because we're pretty excited about that coming up soon. So take care of yourselves, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank
Terry.
you.